everybody. Welcome to the Pandemonium. Today we're going to be talking about the Demonologist game. And this video is going to be split up into 3 different parts, in which part 1 is going to be explaining what is Demonologist. And part 2 is going to be explaining the community of Demonologists. And then part 3 is going to explain how I have been excommunicated from Demonologist. So buckle up, let's go, let's get into it, and welcome to the Pandemonium.
Hey! Hey, can you talk?
So what is Demonologist? Demonologist is a 1 to 4 player co-op horror game. Kind of like Phasmophobia. It's a ghost hunting game where you have to go and find evidence and find what the ghost is. Now, Demonologist did do a unique standpoint, and they added exorcisms into it, in which you can exorcise the ghosts to be able to get more monies and to be able to buy more items. With that as well, they also added like jump scares into the game, which was fantastic. Definitely made the game a lot more exciting than what Phasmophobia is, when you're sitting there for ages on end waiting for evidence. I'm not saying that Phasmophobia is a bad game, it's just a little bit boring, and Demonologist was a lot more entertaining. So, with that, Demonologist definitely had a brand new take on the ghost hunting genre. As time moved on with the game, it has become outrageously broken. Outrageously broken. After they moved away from 1.0, the game started having a lot of issues. The game started to break. There was pathing issues on a lot of maps. A lot of people were spawning underneath of the map, or they were getting met with the shivers crash code when they tried to boot up, or it was just killing the video, your video RAM. And this is due to the fact that the game has horrible optimization, has horrible memory leaks. It is now to the point to where most VTubers cannot even stream the game anymore because it will crash their system, or it will lag us out completely. Like, I know at least myself and one other VTuber who can't even play the game anymore on stream because it completely crashes it. And we gotten down to the point to where we are boycotting this game until they fix their problems. But will they fix the problems? Doubtful. Because the devs don't really seem to care. The devs don't seem to care about fixing the problem, and the only thing that they want to do is just create more content for it. And just add new maps and create more content on top of the bugs, and just add in more and more and more stuff and burying the bugs. It has been almost a year now. I think over a year now. Because I started playing Demonologist and joined the server back in February of 2024. And I have yet to hear anything from the devs about fixing any of these problems. There is nothing. The devs are completely silent. The devs leave it up to their community moderation team to provide answers for us. And in part 2, we'll talk about how that goes. But there is absolutely nothing that I can strongly say, like, I can see the devs actually fixing these problems. You know, I worry that the devs have the actual skill base to actually fix these problems because they rely on their users to fix the problems, and they let the users promote workarounds for the game instead of actually fixing the issues at hand. Case in point, if you are part of the Demonologist server on Discord of their official Clock Wizard Games server, you'll notice in tech support, if you're having issues with the speech recognition, that the workaround is to download this third-party app to be able to get speech recognition to work, or to have two separate mics set up, one for in-game chat and one for speech recognition to actually get the game to work for you. And even now, that doesn't work anymore. Completely borks. Like, in-game chat is completely borked. You know, it'll work for a little bit, and then it will stop. And this is mainly due to the fact that Demonologist uses two separate programs. For speech recognition, they use Vox. And for their in-game chat, they use Vivox. Vivox is currently banned in most countries in Europe and Asia. So a lot of people are having issues with in-game voice just suddenly not working. The only workaround with that is to use a VPN. But if that VPN is banned in that country, well, then you're completely screwed and you can't even play the game, which is horrible. It's bad. Can't even do it. It's so bad. But it does seem like the devs just are adding assets on top of assets. It seems like when they were in 1.0, they were using Unreal Engine 4. And then they upgraded to Unreal Engine 5. And from my understanding, that's where they ran into the issues. It doesn't seem like they really understand the coding and everything for Unreal Engine 5. And they're just taking assets from Unreal Engine and just copying and pasting them on top of each other, which is causing a big problem. But through the grapevine, apparently they're working on AI and trying to find new programs, and on top of making new maps. I don't see this being the case. I don't trust that they can implement that. I don't trust, especially with the AI. Like, good luck with that, my guys. Good luck with that. Because it really sounds like you're trying to be Bureau of Contacts on that one with trying to implement AI for the ghost behavior. But that's also another thing, is in the game as well, the ghosts don't act the way that they should. You don't find evidence. If you do find evidence that plays to one ghost and you lock it in, there's a chance that you're still wrong because you got it put the wrong evidence onto the map for you. And there's a lot of times where you'll be upstairs in a room and you'll get evidence up there on the top floor, and then you'll also get evidence on the bottom floor, and you don't know where the ghost is at in the haunt room. You can't figure it out. You don't know until it starts to hunt, and you're dead because you're standing in the wrong spot. The whole game is completely borked, and it has lost all sense of value, for me at least. I can't speak for others, but it has lost value for me, and it is definitely, until they fix their issues, I will never be playing this game again. You know, I had my fun with it, and I hope that they can fix their issues because they have great potential. But I don't see the devs being able to live up to that potential because they are far too silent. They don't listen to their community whatsoever, and they leave it up to their moderation staff. But that is such a great segue to get into part 2, the community of Demonologist. So I joined the official Demonologist Discord server back in February to, find people to play with. I was liking the game. It was such a fun game. And my friends that I was playing with, weren't available all the time when I was. So I was like, well, I want to try to go make new friends. I want to play this game. I want to get scared. I want other people to be scared with me. And it was great. When I joined, the server was definitely dead. It was, for the amount of people that were in the server compared to the people that were posting and everything, it's a dead server. But there were still some very active people. And in that server, I did meet a lot of great people, and met a lot of people that I consider some of my closest friends. Like, I will never be where I'm at today if it was not for them. Like, I love them wholeheartedly, and I played the game with them religiously. And because I loved the game so much, I was very much active in that server. I was doing everything I could to help other players, to be part of the community, to insert myself, and to make friends, and to be, to get better at the game so I could help newer players and help them troubleshoot some issues with their game. And in that time, that led me to become a trial mod for the server. And if you don't know what a trial mod is, it's basically just a one step underneath of a moderator for a server. It's basically, I was an intern in this sense, basically like, let's see how you do and see if you can control things, and then we'll see about making you a mod. I stayed a trial mod to the very end. To the very end. And I will say at the end, it was my decision to stay a trial mod. It was absolutely my decision to stay a trial mod. But, and I loved it. I loved, being a voice for the users on that server. Because unfortunately, it did start to come down to the point where my time as a moderator, I started seeing some things within it that revolved around the moderation staff. And a lot of it was, majority of them were just not active. And that's okay. We all have lives. We're not getting paid for this, so there's no reason why you have to be active. But there were a few that were insanely active onto it. And I joined in already after like a huge debacle with the server and a situation with the gang revolving around Maria's room on Cyclone Street in the game. How it was an unfinished puzzle, but the devs never mentioned that they did not plan on continuing it. But so there was people coming in asking about, how do I solve Maria's room? How do I solve Maria's room? And we didn't have an answer for them. We always had to tell them that it's unfinished. It's unfinished. But we had no clear thought process from the devs on if they were planning on finish it. They had an announcement in regards to it in which they skirted around the issue, saying like, oh, we may finish it, we may not, who knows. But there was no solid evidence onto it. And the previous community manager that was there hyped it up because he was informed that they were in the process of trying to finish it. And rightfully so. He was hyping it up, but nobody communicated with him. And then unfortunately, he had to leave the server due to some personal reasons. And he just didn't have the time to deal with everything anymore. And that's okay. Again, not getting paid for it. So no reason to actually be, part of something if you don't want to be a part of it anymore. So he stepped down and went about his own way. And unfortunately, because he hyped it up so much, they used him as a scapegoat onto why it was unfinished, that he was spreading false information. And it's just not true. It's not true. It's the devs that just did not respond the way that they should have. And then come to find out, like, there was an issue with their coding to where the unfinished Maria's room was causing a lot of problems with the game and was causing memory leakage. So they took it out completely. But they didn't make an announcement onto it. They didn't make an announcement onto it. They hide everything. Like, they don't want the users to know, like, what their thought process is, what they're doing, or anything. The only time that they make any type of announcement is new map, new map, new map. How about a plushie? You want a plushie? Here's a plushie campaign. Invest into it. If we get a certain amount of money, then we'll give you a plushie. Then we'll give you a plushie. And that raises so many red flags for me. So many red flags. When I actually get my plushie, I don't know. But when these people were asking about Maria's room, they got met with hostility. New people coming in asking about the puzzle and wanting to figure out the answer. And they got met with hostility and belittled and met with memes from the moderation staff instead of meeting them with understanding. Now, thankfully, down the road, people finally realized that, the Maria's room is no longer a thing. It's not going to happen. So they did stop asking about it. But it still leaves a bad taste in your mouth when you see the moderation team acting that way and belittle them. And then it'll come out to the situation where they'll announce a new map. And it gets met with 50-50. The last time that they announced a new map, the official content creators were a little bit upset about it because they were not given an ETA on when the map was going to be released, so that way they could plan to stream it. And instead they're met with, well, we gave you a notice. We told you it'd be available within the week. Well, that's not given an exact ETA. A lot of them were only asking for like at least a 48-hour notice so that way they could plan around it and promote the game, because that was their job as official content creators. Now, I can't speak wholeheartedly on the whole content creation program for the server because I was not privy to those channels during my time as a trial mod. But I did get to see a lot of the content creators in Gen Chat speak their mind. And I have spoken to a lot of content creators on the side and how they were treated with the fact that not getting any information and then being belittled, in the content creators channel just because they were asking for a little bit of respect, because they had no idea what was going on. And apparently when the switchover happened with the old community manager and the new community manager, no information was given over to the new community manager from the development team for the content creators. So you had no idea what the program was all about. What was told to these creators, and what promises were made to them. And it's not on the old community manager's responsibility to relay that information. That was on the development team to relay that information to the new community manager. Never happened. So content creators were just going about their business expecting this thing, and then it doesn't happen, and they're met with hostility throughout the entire thing. And then we also have users that came in basically being the same way and asking, why are we getting a new map, but we're not getting fixes? Like, what is this? What is this? And then the new map comes out. The announcement for the new map comes out, and the exact same thing happens. You know, it's met 50-50. And in that situation, because it was met 50-50, a lot of people were upset at the fact of the matter is that why is it taking so long? You know, obviously they're using assets from Unreal Engine. So why is it that we get a teaser but still not an ETA? Why is it taking so long? Why is it taking so long? And they back up facts onto it that there are development teams and indie companies that are with the same development team of like 1 to 3 developers onto it, and being able to pump out updates and patches in a short period of time. But it takes Demonologist developers so much longer to put these out when they're using paid assets. And, you know, everybody has their own lives, and it is what it is, but, you know, people are concerned because developers don't tell us anything. Don't give the users updates. Don't give the community updates on what's going on. They just like, hey, here's this, and then they go silent. You hear nothing from them. Nothing whatsoever. And it got so bad. And it got to the point to where moderators, in a sense, were having ego trips in that server. They were just unapologetically banning people for disagreeing or sharing their opinions on the matter, and just being overly hostile to somebody to spark a fight with somebody so that way they had an excuse to ban them. And then they were starting forcing rules just out of the blue onto the users that were not in the rules whatsoever. And it was just confusing, and no mod was on the same page whatsoever. So eventually I kind of got tired of everything, and, you know, I still a trial mod, but I stepped back from the server. I wasn't active on it anymore, but I was still lurking in the shadows, and every once in a while I'd pop in to talk to some of my favorite peoples on there. And then eventually it just got down to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. And I had to post a little rant on how disconnected all the mods were with each other, and how nobody was on the same page, and that we needed to get on the same page. And I'm being told in DMs from the lead mod that the community manager is telling us to be stricter, is telling us to do this, telling us to do that, all that stuff. So I had to post in the mod chat to be like, this needs to stop. We need to be on the same page. This is getting ridiculous. Like, let's get on the same page. Let's move forward. Let's do better. Not for just ourselves, but for the community. Because at this point, there was no trust in the moderation team. You know, the moderation team, to a lot of users, we were jokes. Complete jokes onto it. Like, there was no instance where we some of the moderation seems left with happy users when a situation arose, because a lot of users felt like they weren't being listened to or their feelings weren't being validated. So towards the end, like, I was getting fed up, and especially with the fact that, nobody was listening to the users. A user would come in and be upset that their game wasn't working, their speech recognition wasn't working, and they get met with a workaround. And because they don't want to download a third-party system to make the workaround work, they get met with, oh, well, you're lost, blah, 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 you can do this, whatever, and they're upset that they have to download a workaround, but they're not met with the understanding of why they don't want to work with it. They're just met with the hostility. And I got down to the point where I got tired of promoting that workaround. Like, it's not our job to fix the devs' problems. It's the devs' problem to fix their problems. And I think the users have a right to be pissed if their shit's not working and the devs aren't doing anything to fix it. Do your shit. Fix it. Let the users be pissed. As a moderation team, if we do it right, then it won't cause a problem. All you needed to do was the user come in, being upset. You can offer a workaround for them, and if they don't accept it, then validate their feelings. Validate the reason why they're upset, and be like, yeah, I get it, understand, hopefully the devs fix it soon, but in the meantime, we do have a workaround if you want to use a workaround. If not, sorry, like, I'm not a dev, so not much I can do, but you do have a right to be pissed off and frustrated. Like, I get it. Like, it's easy as that. You validate somebody's feelings and it goes a lot smoother. But if you meet them with hostility and immediately get defensive with them, then yeah, they're going to fire back with the same attitude that you give them. But now it's getting to the point to where the staff is now promoting that you go into your router and reprogram shit to fix a problem. And please don't ever do that. Please don't ever do that. And here, we'll show some proof onto that for you guys. It's insane. But here is a lead mod promoting the fact of somebody going into the router to change their Google parameters. And I want to tell you this right now. Please do not ever go into your router and change something like that. That's just spelling disaster. In any aspect is spelling disaster. Don't do that. Don't do that. You shouldn't have to do this to fix your shit. Like, and this is for the in-game chat having a problem. So, and it's not your router, it's not anything. It is because Vivox is banned in majority of countries right now. So that's the problem. Until they get a new program, you're going to run into this situation. It is always going to be there. That is just how that's going to be. I'm sorry to say it. It is just how it's going to be. But this comes down to why I stepped down as a trial mod. I got tired of it. I got tired of the hostility. I got tired of the promoting workarounds I got tired of the fact that the lead mod would not do their job and was constantly going to other people to do what she should be doing, or asking for guidance on how to do something. Like, why are you a lead mod if you're going to other people asking what to do? Majority of the time is that she would go to the community manager and ask them how she should handle this and go by what they said. She didn't have a single thought process in her mind to be able to do something. She just basically went by what other people told her. And that's not how you lead. You lead by example. You don't lead by following other people. And this is one instance. This is a lead mod reaching out to me over a situation. This is a lead mod reaching out to me because a user was apparently only tagging females in the looking for games section. And she sent me the link and asked me to ask him why he was only tagging females. I clicked it. I couldn't see what she was talking about. I'm like, what is going on? And then she gave me the username of the person. I was like, okay, I don't see an issue with his post. I was like, yeah, to some it may seem weird that he's only replies to females, but if we straight up ask him why he only replies to females, he's going to take it as we're assuming that he's being creepy when he may not be. I was like, not much we can really say about it unless someone complains that he is harassing him. And he doesn't. I know this user, and he's a great guy. Like, I played games with him multiple times, and he is not the one to be creepy or harass or, trying to find a girlfriend through playing Demonologist. He's just not that type of person. And she responds, well, it's the third time he does it. If that doesn't call it weird, I don't know what does. There's plenty of other people asking for game, yet he only tags women. No. Like, okay, like you can't just go off of assumptions onto that. Like, you need solid proof. Like, you need proof that he's doing something wrong. Nobody's complaining. And nobody's doing anything, and reporting him for harassing them. I was like, at some point, someone could also argue that he may be more comfortable with playing with females because majority of the men on that server that play the game can be toxic. They are very toxic. Or they're 13-year-olds. And they just scream the entire time, or they're trying to make content in YouTube videos or stream on Twitch and not ask permission for you to be in the recording. So yeah, I will say a majority of the female players in that Demonologist server are a lot more fun to play with than some of the males, majority of the males. And I'm not saying that it's all males, there's a lot of male players that were consistent in that were absolutely fantastic. The user in question was one of them. There was also a couple of other ones, some of them are, some close friends of mine. There's a lot of people still in that community that are good, but sometimes people feel more comfortable playing with women compared to men because men can be toxic towards other men. That's why I normally have a lot more female friends compared to men, because I do not like the toxicity of men sometime and how they like to put down other men. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. But this is also, in this case, like, I watched this lead mod go from a trial mod to a moderator to a lead mod. And I will say, as the progression went, I was very, very confused that they got the lead mod position, is because they were notorious for escalating the situations. And this is a screenshot of me basically calling them out that they have done this. And you can read it. And you can pause with, you can't read them all. You can always pause the video as I explain it. I was like, but here's in a situation I called the lead mod out for her past. And telling her, I was like, there have been times where a situation would be calming down, or someone would make a remark about how the mods were a joke, and they would immediately get hostile and create a wildfire. I have called them out on this before in the past and called them out again onto it. And then they immediately reply back like, I don't remember doing this. Like, I probably took a lesson from you and reformatted myself to not be that hostile. She did. She didn't. They have always remained hostile. They have always remained hostile in any situation if somebody did not agree or to them. I was like, but, and then I kind of explained to her about the VCs and how I was telling her in VCs that we shouldn't be promoting workarounds, so we need to let the users be pissed, and going back over and explaining the Maria's room situation that I touched base with earlier, and that when people ask questions over and over and over again, and we get repeated questions from different users or even from the same users, that they need to be met with respect and with a professional answer, and to meet them with understanding and not snarky comments and memes, because all it does is belittle them and makes them defensive. And that's what causes a lot of the drama and the escalation in the server, which can all be avoided. And then she responds with, I get that. So maybe quitting with the memes and gifts with new people, would that work? Because when it's regulars asking when they know what's going on, it's a bit annoying. No. As a lead mod, you should know this, is that every single person that asks, new, old, middle, you meet with the same professional answer. Because especially if it's a regular, because they could just be looking for a fight and to be a troll. So you don't give them the ammunition for that shit. You just let them sit there and give them the professional answer and meet them with understanding, and then they have nothing to fight you with. They have nothing. They just sit there and they stew. You don't give them what they want. But as time went on, they kept coming and asking for advice from a trial mod at that. Granted, this is a lead mod coming to a trial mod. I'm an intern at the best here. All right. It got down to the situation where I got tired of everything and I called everybody out in our mod channel. And at the point, it seemed like we had a resolution, that everybody was on the same page. It got down to the point to where a lot of clarification was happening, because a lot of information that we were getting from the lead mod was coming in the form of DMs and them saying that, well, the community manager said this, the community manager said that, the community manager said we need to do this. I'm just following what the community manager said. But the community manager never made a public announcement or told any of us that. This is all just coming from her. So eventually it came out in the mod chat, like, what he meant by what he said to her. And she immediately gets defensive during that and saying, like, oh, well, you never told me that. Well, did you ask for clarification, or did you just take what he said and interpreted it your own way? Like, you need to ask questions. No matter who it is, ask questions. Like, if it doesn't feel right to you, or if you feel like you need more, clarification, then you need to ask the questions. Give a scenario to get a better understanding. But, excuse me, it came down to the fact that they came to me and they asked if they were the problem. And during that time, they weren't necessarily the problem. We all were. We were all the problem in the situation. But as a lead mod, they weren't the solution either, because they weren't leading by example, and all they were doing is coming off as a yes man. And in this situation, they agree. They agree that all they were doing was coming off as a yes man. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to do better. Do better. Lead by example. And I just, man, it got too much for me. And where it got too much for me was she started blaming others for shit. She would not take responsibility for her own actions. And this was an individual that, if you are friends with them, you can basically get away with whatever you want. But if you are not friends with them and you said something wrong, ban on the spot. Ban on the spot. So one of the moderators decided to make a point out of this. And in the situation, somebody posted a leak, and that was another thing that got enforced, was they were trying to enforce that users can't post links and they had to ask permission first, which was stupid. Which is absolutely stupid. But, so a moderator was handling the issue. Right? Another user got involved. And this is a big thing, is what we kind of went down to, is like, there's no reason for another user to get involved if the moderator is already handling a situation. There's no need. So another user jumped in while a mod was handling the situation. And they escalated the problem. And they started fighting back with the moderator. And at that standpoint, it ended up causing this person to get banned. Now, granted, they got unbanned pretty much immediately, but the reason why they got unbanned immediately, and things like that, is because this was one of the lead mod's friends. But in this situation, if it was reversed and this was not one of the lead mod's friends, that ban would have been permanent. That person never would have came back. And in this situation, this is where, like, she starts blaming, the individual and causing a problem with it. And, and this was another situation where everything was handled in DMs and not in public. And her saying that they only hand timeouts and they don't ban. Not true. Not true. Not true. Not true. Not at all. But then it got down to the point where in the server, like, after that, this the lead mod had an issue with this mod. So the mod ended up answering a question in the server after the lead mod was pushing a user to go to the Wikipedia page to find an answer for a question that they had about the game. Because the lead mod doesn't know shit about the game because they don't play it. So they were pushing them to go to the Wikipedia page to find the answer. And then the other mod comes in and answers the question for them. And this is where they're saying, coming to me and saying, I don't know what to do here. I push people to find information on their own by consulting the wiki. Not true. You don't know the answer. So you're not pushing them to find the answer on their own. You're pushing people to go to the Wikipedia page because you don't know the answer. And then she said, moderator goes and spoon feeds the information. I don't know what to do anymore. What? And which I respond to her as like, both parts there is nothing wrong with. I was like, if someone else steps in and decides to give them the interaction to explain, that isn't calling you out, because this is basically what she's saying. She's like, I don't know what to do. They're calling me out. Like, all this other moderator was trying to do was just build a one-on-one connection with them. But, they also had the Wikipedia link available to them for future reference. I was like, so all in all, like, group effort, yay. I was like, me personally, if I don't know the information, I direct them to the wiki, or if I'm too busy. Like, but I explain, I don't know the answer. And if there's no other user around, I tell them. But I'm not going to get mad and upset if another user comes in behind me and actually gives them the answer. And then I, gave her advice. Like, I would avoid saying spoon-fed because it isn't that. They're just being friendly and building activity on the server. And this is where my step down comes into play. Because immediately after, and I've already was thinking about stepping down at this point, but somebody comes in and asks another question about the game. And they're asking, does the Iblis throw things a lot? The lead mod decides to tag the moderator that answered the question and responds with, moderator is our resident wiki, he'll help you out. Like, why would you say something like that? Why would you say something like that? Because that is a clear shot. That is a clear shot at that individual. Because you were just messaging me how you were pissed about them answering a question and spoon feeding them information. So that's being petty. You're being petty. And when she, I told her, and I spoke to the community manager why I was stepping down. And I told them, I was like, lead by example. I was like, they could have easily answered the question or provided the wiki link. I was like, to me, that was a shot. Wished them the best and to do better. And I was like, but for me, I was no longer going to be a voice of reason for them. I wasn't going to be playing lead mod while being a trial mod. And basically taking the heat and her having to basically say, like, well, Panda told me this. And Panda told me to do that, so it's not my fault. And then this was her response, basically, saying, so I can't make a joke now? Well, as a lead mod, you shouldn't be making a joke at the expense of others to begin with. And it's just like, I don't understand where the hostility's coming from, blah, 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 wah, 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 wah. And dang, you know me better than this, and you know very well that if I were to provide the link, the mod would be doing exactly what you expect me to do and provide an answer regardless. So basically, she's saying, like, why would I provide the link? You just want to come in and provide the answer anyways. Why is that a problem? why is that a problem? It's just easy to do nothing at that point. Just stop. I was like, and there's blah, sad to see you go. You were incredibly helpful, and I did believe in you. I don't care if you believed in me. I don't need you to believe in me. I believed in me. That's all that matters. I was like, but I didn't believe in you. I did not believe in you as our leader, for sure. And then I told them, I was like, exactly, saying that mod would be doing exactly what you expect me to do. I was like, if you didn't want to provide the wiki link because you thought so-and-so was going to jump in and give the answer, then you should have just left it alone. A user would have stepped in. And a user did step in. Right afterwards, one of the users stepped in and gave the answer to them. And I told you can spin it how you want, but it was a clear shot from our previous discussion on the matter. And I explained I will continue to be a lead mod. I was like, I will continue to do what I've always done in the server. I will help people where I can help people and do what it is. I was like, but I don't want to be a part of the team where the lead mod acts like a child and prefers to be petty over taking the high ground. I was like, and made the point. It's not a joke if it's at the expense of somebody else. It's just being a bully. And it's exactly what happened. They were a bully. So, with that, I stepped down. Continued my life. Yeah. And, wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. But this is where we get into part 3. How I was excommunicated from the Demonologist server.
Do you have Prince Albert in a can? You do? Well, you better let the poor guy out.
I will say this. I'm not a fan of bullies. I'm not a fan of people not being able to voice their opinion and getting met with hostility because of it. The moment I stepped down, the day I stepped down, all hell breaks loose in the server. All hell broke loose. The day I stepped down, they released the teaser for the new map, and people weren't happy because all they got was a teaser. They've been saying they're working on a new map for like 3 months now, and this is all we got was just a teaser. No ETA, no nothing, no confirmation on if they were working on bugs, working on fixes for anything. So people were upset with it. And it got down to the point where a user and streamer came in and made a comment about it. And we got into the topic of how the assets for the map looked very familiar. And it was a situation where the asset that they were using, the map asset they were using, is the exact same map asset as what they use in Ghost Watchers for their abandoned house map. And so we called it out, oh, well, this is the same map aspect, we kind of already played this, so it's not as exciting for us. And that's when this individual is like, wait, they use a map assets? Like, okay, like I could understand, like, if they were building this from scratch for them to take so long, but they're using paid assets for this, so why is it taking so long? Developers of the same caliber or less do the same thing and still bust things out. And he gets met with hostility from a user, and none of the moderation team's doing anything. None of the moderation team is doing anything about it. So I step in and I tell the user that's instigating this person and trying to pick a fight with him to chill out. Like, he has a right to his opinion, so just chill and stop looking for a fight. And that's when another mod comes in and says, well, they're both antagonizing each other, so they both need to stop. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? And that is when saw that this individual was streaming. You know, they were streaming and dealing with this at the same time. So I went to his stream and I gave him some love. And I will put his link in the description below. And he is such a lovely guy. He is so fantastic. And he deserves all the love and support that anybody can give him. And what happened to him was absolutely ridiculous and insane. Is because during this time, I go into his stream and I'm showing him love and support. Because a lot of the things that I'm going to say, that I want to say, I cannot say in the server. Because I do not want to create more of a hostile environment. Because I know certain individuals, all they're going to do is just pick it apart and do this and do that. And so I go to this person's stream and I'm giving them love and support. And I'm telling them, don't let them stop you. I was like, voice your opinion. Don't back down from it. You have the right to be pissed. You have the right to be upset. Don't back down from it and give them hell. Like, don't let them stop you from being able to voice your opinion and to be silenced, because you have every right to say what you want to say. You're in no wrong. You're not doing anything. You're not bashing anybody. You're being respectful, and it's the other person that's being disrespectful to you. And because they're being disrespectful, like, you're still meeting them with respect. You're just standing your ground. And it got down to it. It got down, you know. And then he admitted through it that he just started trolling. And, you know, at the point, you know, if he was just met with respect behind it, it would have been fine. It would have been absolutely fine, and he would have been stopped. But he was met with such disrespect that he just decided, he's like, well, screw it. I'm just going to troll at this point. I'm like, all right, do you, boo? You do you. And then I go and check my Discord to check in on everything. And I've been banned. I got banned and I didn't even say anything in the server. So come to find out, the reason I got banned from the server is because I was supporting him on his stream. And here's where things get a little just absurd. A moderation team should not be able to enforce a server's rule that is not in the rules outside of the Discord. I wasn't called in discourse in the Discord. I wasn't saying anything in the Discord. I wasn't a mod for the Discord anymore, so I'm no longer a representative for the company. I have a right to say whatever I want outside of the Discord server. I didn't sign an NDA. I can say whatever I want. But I got banned. I got banned. And was not given a real reason. The reason is I got banned for telling the streamer to give them hell. And granted, I will say, is through the situation, something good came out of it. One, the streamer got some chaos into his chat and he got some interaction. We revived his stream and got him the view count. But what gets me is he had the community manager and one of the moderators lurking in his chat. Like, no. The only reason you were there is to spy. And that's not cool. And now it's to the point where it just seems like you want to silence people that go against it, or want to speak their minds on something that goes against what you want them to know, and call shit. So immediately when I saw my ban, I started reaching out to get a reason why I was unjustly banned from saying what I thought outside of the server. And I was met with block after block after block. I was met with a complete block on everything. So I decided to reach out to the mod that banned me on an alt Twitter account. And this is what I got. Banned after saying my piece. After calling them out. Banned. They don't want to speak about it. They don't want to recognize it. And they just want to do whatever. Now, in this situation, I was banned for telling them to give hell. The Twitch streamer Necro was banned for going against what the moderation team, for not listening to the moderation team. You know, he was warned, you know, went through all the steps. Like, you know, they went through the steps with him. He was warned. But I don't think it was timed down. I think he was just immediately banned. I was never warned. I just got immediately banned. But before making this video, after my ban, I created an alt account on Discord to do some snooping, to see how the aftermath of everything was going. And let me tell you what, the moderation team just went back to the old ways. And the lead mod goes back to her selective moderation. So with this is they don't like the bashing of anybody in the community or in the Dems or anything of that order. So in this situation, we have an individual that is saying that the Demonologist game should be renamed to Semenologist. And the lead mod specifically says, I see nothing wrong with it. And does nothing. Does absolutely nothing. And later, this same person that said this starts disrespecting another user, one of the nicest people in the world, mind you, starts disrespecting them, and still a lead mod does nothing. Does nothing. Nobody does nothing. No moderation team does nothing onto it. And it takes them for somebody else to call him out, for the mod team to step in. And it's absolutely insane that it even comes down that somebody else has to step in before a mod team will step in, because they feel like they have to defend themselves onto it. So with that as well, is not only have I been excommunicated from the Demonologist server on Discord, I've been banned from their Steam community too. Because I started calling them out on there. And this was the cause of my ban. And this was just me replying to a comment that was made back in 2023. You know, I had to say my piece some way. They weren't listening. I couldn't say it in the Discord, so I'm going to say it in there. And I'll tell you what. I have tried recording this video multiple different times. Because each time I go to sit down to record and I record, something new comes up. And I have to re-record everything. It is frustrating. But with that, that leads us to the end of this video. If you sat through this, thank you for listening to my ramblings. It's absolutely insane, but this video is my point of view, is my experience. It's my thoughts on the developers, on the community, and how the moderation team goes. These are all my own thoughts. If you share the same thoughts, that's awesome. I'm glad you and I are on the same page. If you don't share my thoughts, that's okay too. Like, I'm glad if you have not gone through this and you have only had great experience with the moderation team, awesome. Good on you. I'm glad that you are finding some type of enjoyment in the community. But if the only reason that you're finding enjoyment in the community is because you're one of the instigators and you're one of the people that is spreading the toxicity, shame on you. Do better. But this is all to raise awareness. If you have been affected by the moderation team, or if you have even felt like me, if you know me from when I was a moderator for the Discord, I apologize. I apologize if I have made you feel small in any way, and I want to apologize on behalf of the other moderation team. I don't have to, but I don't feel like anybody should be made to feel small and belittled and unheard. So this video was basically just meant to say that there was somebody on the staff that saw you and heard you and tried to make it better. And I'm sorry that I couldn't do what I needed to make it better. And there was other people on the mod team that were trying to help as well. But we all came down to the decision that we had to step down because we could not personally do it anymore. We were fighting an uphill battle. And it was not in our favor. But I hope that nobody has to experience that. If you see this video, I do want to say, and if you know who I'm talking about, do not harass these people. Don't try to start fights with them. Don't harass them. I'm okay with the position that I'm in. I'm okay with the fact that I have been excommunicated from their side because in the end, I went into that server to find friends to fight demons. And in the end, I found that the demons were in the server all along. But I have made so many great friends from there. The people that I met in there that I still talk to today, I talk to them every single day. I would change nothing. The horrible experience that I experienced, I would get banned 1,000 times over if it meant that I got to meet them in this life. And I hope that you guys have the same. If you guys go through a situation where it is just you join the server and you're met with just absurd hostility for asking a question, I hope in the end that you are able to find the good people on that server because they are there. There are some very wholesome people there. And I hope you can find them because they are very welcoming and they will welcome you with open arms. But with that, thank you guys so much for listening. And if you guys ever want to see me game, you can follow me on my Twitch, ParaPandaTTV. It's been a pleasure. If you guys liked what you listened to, hit the like and subscribe. I'm going to try to do more videos. I'm hoping to steer away from having to do drama, because I don't want this channel to be drama related. But I'm going to try to plan other stuff for you guys on this here. I'd rather do more of an interview base with people, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm also the type of person, if I see something wrong, I'm going to call it out. And if I have to go public with it, I'm going to go public with it. But if nobody's told you today, I love you and I'm proud of you. Thank you for listening. Bye.